for like a few days. That looks so good. Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Trina, also known as Trains Gains on TikTok and Instagram. If you don't know me, I post fitness, lifestyle, food, content, all that good stuff. Today, I'm taking you through a little day of my life, kind of diving into what I eat in a day, how I meal prep, set myself up for success for the week, and how I stay on track while still being able to eat the foods I love, because if you know me, you know I absolutely love food. We are starting the day off strong with a workout, so I'm gonna take you guys to the gym with me. We are hitting a back and biceps day today. First thing I'm consuming is just this deep bloat mix from ProMix. Okay, I just chugged it, but this is just a probiotic mix, so it's just good for your gut health. So I just chugged that today. I usually start it off in the mornings when I just don't have anything in my stomach. That's when it's recommended to be taken. Also just made my pre-workout blend. I use half stim-free, half regular pre-workout from Transparent Labs, as well as a scoop of creatine. I'm just trying to cut down on my caffeine intake, so I don't want to take a full scoop of regular pre-workout with my lifts, but this is all ready and good to go. We are headed to the gym now. It's currently 5:50 a.m. Let's get after it today. Home from the gym. I just fed the animals and took Cora for her morning walk. So it's time for me to have breakfast. I've got a busy day at work today. It's currently 8:15. Work starts at 9. So I'm gonna eat breakfast, shower, get ready. For breakfast, I meal prepped some overnight oats for the week. Last week, I just made like ground beef, eggs, and just a bunch of other random stuff. But this week, I knew I was gonna be busy, so I just prepped all my breakfast in advance. I pretty much just use the same thing every single week. I'm not quite tired of it yet, but it's just oats, milk, Greek yogurt. And then I'll just top it with some bananas and strawberries, peanut butter, and then a little bit of granola. And then this week, I'm also using a little mini chocolate chips. So let's do that real quick. I have my oats. This is what they look like. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of chocolate chips and some granola. This is what we're working with. Yummy. Super simple, super easy. Okay. Got ready and started work. It's now 10:45 and I want to just prepare some chicken for lunch. I usually just try to prepare enough for like a few days, and then I'll also prepare ground beef, so I have a mixture of protein options to choose from. That way I'm not eating the same thing every single day. So let's do that together, and I'll show you a little bit about like just the different things I use to create a marinade for my chicken. I usually let it sit for just a couple of hours. Since it is almost 11, I'll probably cook this at 1, and then we should be set for the next few days, which is super nice. So let's get into it. I will always choose chicken thigh over chicken breast. I do not care. Chicken thighs just always end up juicier, and that is fine by me. Even if it is a little bit less in protein, I will just weigh out my chicken. I usually aim for about 6 ounces per serving. Since I'm gonna do 3 to 4 servings, we're gonna aim for almost 18 to 24 ounces of chicken. I'm just gonna see how many thighs that is, because I do wanna save some for maybe dinner or like something this weekend. I don't wanna cook it all at once because I do like to meal prep in advance, so once it's like too far in advance, I get a little nervous about whether or not that food is still good. Grabbing some scissors to trim the meat. And I just like to trim off the fat, just pretty big, noticeable pieces of fat from the thighs. We're at 21.5 ounces. That was 4 thighs. I don't want to cut one in half. So I think what I'm just going to do is 3 servings of a little bit more than 7 ounces of meat. I use pretty much the same seasonings every single time. So first, I'm just going to drizzle in some olive oil. And then just some standard seasonings. So garlic powder. I do not measure. Don't ask me how much I use of everything, okay? I just freaking go until I can smell. Seasonings. Onion powder's next. Paprika. A little bit of cumin. Just a little tiny bit of cumin, not a ton, because cumin I feel like is very strong. Some chili powder. And then, of course, salt and pepper. Once that's all in there, we're just gonna mix her up. Make sure that it's fully coated on both sides with the seasoning. It should be all nice and seasoned up. Chicken should change color because you want it to not be like chicken colored anymore. So I'm just gonna cover this with some saran wrap, put it in the fridge until I'm ready to cook it, probably about an hour, 2 hours. Now that our protein is prepped, the next thing we're gonna prep is a carb. My favorite type of carb to eat is rice. And so we're going to just prep a few servings of that for the week. That way I can kind of like mix and match. So if I want rice and chicken, rice and ground beef, then I can mix and match and add toppings like veggies and sauces, things like that. I also like to prep sweet potatoes. So I like to have the options of sweet potatoes and rice, and then chicken and ground beef usually are always gonna be my go-to for protein sources. So we're just gonna go ahead and do that now. Measured out about 1.5 cups of rice. We're gonna wash our rice, okay? You're going to want to wash your grains until the water runs clear. I know a lot of people skip this step, but in my culture, we do not skip washing the rice. Then we're going to measure out about a 1-to-1 ratio for water to rice. So if I did 1.5 cups of rice, we're going to add 1.5 cups of water. I actually like my rice to be a little bit more on the sticky side, so I add a little bit more than the 1-to-1 ratio. And we're just going to throw that in the rice cooker and let that cook. Easy peasy. Okay, now that that's all prepped, I've got to get back to work. I have a few meetings, so once those are wrapped up, I'll come back and we will get started on actually cooking these. Okay, y'all, I just got out of all of my afternoon meetings. It is now 12:45. I have one more meeting at 1, but then I had another meeting added to my calendar at 1:30, so I wanted to take this 15 minutes to eat lunch because I am freaking hungry. So for lunch today, I'm actually having leftovers from dinner. So I made steak for the very first time. Was it perfect? No. Am I gonna complain? No, because I can't. It's steak. So I just put the steak on my plate. I had some leftover sweet potatoes that I also made last night. I'm gonna throw that in the microwave and then pair it with some avocado because I have been on an avocado kick lately. So good. Let me show you what it looks like after I throw this in the microwave. Here is lunch. Did I maybe overcook the steak on my first try? Yes. Have I learned my lesson? Absolutely. You can see I'm also an avid milk drinker. Hear me out, okay? My mom gave me a glass of milk every morning when I was a kid because it would help strengthen my bones. And you know what? I have not broken a bone. So if that makes me weird, okay, for drinking milk all the time, I don't care. My goal when I make dinner is to always have leftovers, at least one leftover meal. I think I'm making tacos tonight. Don't quote me on that. I need to run to Costco because I do want to get extra steak. When I make dinner, I always make enough for 2 servings. That way I don't have to cook every single night because I do prep my breakfast, I do prep my lunches, but the one thing I do not prep is my dinners. And that is because I actually enjoy cooking and I like to have fresh meals. So I don't really want to have those be like 5 days prepped in advance. But I don't want to cook every single night, just maybe like a couple times a week. Last night I made steak. I could have definitely had this for dinner and just cooked the chicken meal prep that I'd started, which I am still going to do for the rest of the week. But I figured I would just eat this now because I have a lot less time in my schedule today than I thought, just because of all the meetings that I had, which is why I do like having so many options available, because when you feel pressed for time, I think is when people are more inclined to order out or eat something unhealthy just because it's quick and easy. However, if you always have food available, it's going to be a lot harder to kind of go off track. So my thing is I will always try to have food available just to make it more convenient for me, whether that be something I prepped the night before, prepped days in advance. My whole goal is to stock up on, like I said, things that are convenient. I don't have a lot of snacks in my pantry either because when I am hungry, like I want to reach for something that's going to keep me full for long periods of times, not things that are just going to satiate me in the moment. Okay, I'm going to eat lunch. It's currently 12:50. I'm going to hop in my meetings for the rest of the afternoon, and then I will circle back, get it, corporate jargon, circle back with y'all to prep my chicken for the rest of the week. work got quite busy and the day got away from me. It is now 4:15, end of the work day. So I'm just making myself, or I just made myself, a little yogurt bowl. It has been one of my favorite little sweet treat snacks to keep me going throughout the day. After this, I'm going to prep my chicken for the week, and then I need to run to Costco to grab a pack of steaks. That way I can make dinner tonight, and I will take you guys along with me. I'm making some steak tacos and I'm super excited about it. So, sounds so good. It's time for me to start prepping dinner. I just got back from Costco. I picked up the sliced sirloin for my tacos. I am now gonna just prep all the veggies before I cook the meats. This one, I mean, it's already pre-cooked, so I just throw it in the pan and just basically heat it up. I do need to prep my little lime crema sauce, which I'm gonna do in my blender. So I'm just gonna cut up all the little veggies. I also got this big bag of limes from Costco, which was only $3, which was crazy. I sound old being excited about the price of groceries, but whatever. I'm adding a few cloves of garlic. I think we're gonna do 4 today. Then I'm going to add a little bit of jalapeno. Just a couple pieces should be perfect. Okay, then I'm gonna add lime. Just gonna roll the lime to help get the juices out. I'm gonna add the full juice of 1 lime, the juice of 1 full lime. And then the base of our creamy sauce is actually going to be some non-fat plain Greek yogurt for extra protein. I actually first got this recipe off of TikTok and they had used a sour cream base. I figured I'd be able to substitute that with Greek yogurt. Honestly, it was by accident the first time. The only thing that I had in my fridge one night was Greek yogurt, so I was like, let's just try it. And of course, it ended up being better than just with sour cream, and of course, better for you than just with sour cream. I have not looked back since. Okay, we're gonna add 200 grams here, so I have enough for at least 2 servings. Going to hit that with a little tiny bit of salt and pepper, and then going to blend that up. Now it's time to prep our meat. I'm just gonna use this, like I said, this pre-cooked sirloin just because it's super easy and super quick. They come in these like little pouches. 1 is usually enough for 2 to 3 servings, so I'm just gonna use 1 and put the other in the fridge. They come in these like strip sizes, but because we're using them for tacos, I like to make them smaller. We're working with about 14.2 ounces of this steak here. Depending on how much this turns out to be, I'll probably have enough for 3 full servings here. Now that this is all chopped up, I'm gonna heat this up over the stove. It's currently like a pretty pink color. We want it to be a little less pink. And I'm gonna toss a couple spices in there just to give it some flavor. I don't wanna add too much salt because we'll have the sauce. So I think what I'm just gonna do is toss it with some chili powder and some cumin. Tortillas. I'm making 3. Okay. So I have all of the tacos pretty much constructed. Now it's time to add the crema sauce that I made. I like to top it off with just a little bit of Cholula. Look at that. That looks so good. Ah, I can't. That looks delicious. I can't. I'm so hungry. Let's take this first bite together and hope my taco doesn't fall apart. So good. Okay, y'all. It is currently at 7:20. Dinner is done. All the dishes are put away. Now it's time for me to go to my Tuesday volleyball league. It starts at 8, so I'm gonna get home probably around like 8:30, 9. So I don't think that I'm actually going to like eat anything afterwards, but I might want a sweet treat, so I will keep you guys posted. Back home from volleyball, just showered, and it is time for bed. I am so exhausted. It's currently 9:45, so a little bit later than I usually go to bed, but volleyball game was super late today, and it was located about 30 minutes away from where I live, so I'm ready to call it a night. I was thinking about having a sweet treat, but I'm so already past my bedtime that it's just time to lay down. So thank you for coming along with me as I took you through a full day of what I ate. I will see you guys on the next YouTube video in 2 weeks' time. Love you all.